Have you ever wondered why, out of nearly 8 billion people on this planet, one person can suddenly feel like they're the only one who truly matters? You walk past thousands of faces every week. Conversations happen and dissolve into nothing. Polite smiles exchanged with strangers. Small talk that evaporates the moment you turn the corner. But then, without any warning, someone steps into your world, and it's like the entire universe recalibrates around their presence. Like a hidden setting flips on inside you. Like your heart runs a quiet diagnostic and whispers, "Oh, there you are. I've been waiting." That's what true rarity means. Not perfection. Not some airbrushed fantasy that exists only in romantic movies or novels. Not a flawless person who never disappoints or challenges you. It means rarity of impact. Because most people, if we're being honest, can share your time. They can occupy space in your schedule. They can fill hours with words and activities. But only someone truly extraordinary can expand your entire sense of what's possible in this life. And I'm not talking about possibility in some vague motivational poster kind of way. I mean the real thing. A kind of possibility where you start thinking differently about your future. Where you start dreaming in colors you didn't know existed. Where you start living with an openness you thought you'd lost years ago. Where the future doesn't feel like something you're bracing yourself for, something you're preparing to survive. Instead, it feels like something you're genuinely excited to build, brick by brick, moment by moment. Here's a truth that nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone feels. We're all starving for something that doesn't feel fake. We exist in a world drowning in filters, filtered photographs that erase reality, filtered opinions that hide true thoughts. Filtered emotions that never quite reach genuine feeling. Everyone around us is carefully curating a version of themselves they think will be acceptable, tolerable, likable enough. And you can feel that distance, that performance, even when you're sitting right next to them. Even when they're looking directly at you. But then there's her, and with her, everything is different. There's presence, real, undeniable, transformative presence. Not the "I'm physically here while my mind is 3 conversations away" kind. In the room, in the moment, in the smallest details that most people race past without noticing. She listens like your words actually carry weight in the world. She notices the detail you didn't think anyone would catch. Well, she hears the quiet tone hiding behind your casual joke and asks, with genuine concern, "Hey, are you actually okay?" That kind of attention, that quality of presence, is rare enough to be completely disruptive to your normal life. And loyalty, genuine loyalty that lasts through storms, is even more uncommon. Because loyalty isn't what people casually promise when everything is smooth and easy. Loyalty isn't the commitment you make when life is comfortable and there's no cost to staying. Real loyalty is what shows up when you're stressed beyond words, when you're exhausted to your core, when you're being misread or criticized or carrying weight you don't even know how to name, let alone put down. Loyalty is the active choice to stay human with someone instead of turning them into a headline, a problem, a disappointment. Us people don't actually want the full reality of a person. They want the highlight reel. They want the winning moments, the impressive achievements. The polished, presentable version that makes them look good by association. But she doesn't love the highlight reel. She loves the messy draft. She loves the late night doubts. She loves the version of you that's under pressure, still becoming, still figuring things out. She loves the human beneath the performance. And that's why she's genuinely one in a million. Because she doesn't just admire what you show the world. She anchors what you hide from it. She makes ordinary moments feel significant. Shared meal isn't just eyes. A shared meal isn't just food. A quiet conversation doesn't vanish into the void of forgotten words. It lands somewhere deep, like it mattered in the grand timeline of your life. And maybe that's what real love actually is. Not constant fireworks and dramatic gestures, but a steady pulse that makes the infinite universe feel close and personal. Let me tell you about the hidden algorithm that nobody teaches you, the pattern recognition that happens below conscious thought. People think love is random, like lightning striking, like a beautiful accident. But when I look back at every moment that genuinely changed me, every experience that made me reconsider my entire life, it wasn't random at all. It was pattern recognition, not in some cold, calculating way. More like your nervous system recognizes something true before your logical mind can catch up and analyze it. When I say she's one in a million, I'm not talking about rarity like a collectible item. I'm talking about a specific kind of signal that almost nobody carries. Love that actually stays. Love that doesn't evaporate when convenience ends. Here's the algorithm nobody teaches you in school or through experience until it's too late. First, most people desperately want to be seen. She sees you, not your job title, not your social media image, not what you can provide or how you can elevate her status. She sees you. The part of you that tries to be strong for everyone. The part of you that's exhausted from being strong. The part of you that doesn't even fully understand what it needs, only that it's been carrying too much for far too long. And she doesn't push aggressively. She doesn't interrogate with questions. She just stays close enough that telling the truth finally feels safe instead of dangerous. That kind of presence isn't common. It's expensive. Not in money, but in effort. It costs humility. It costs patience. It costs the willingness to sit with discomfort instead of demanding immediate resolution. Second, most people listen primarily to respond. She listens to genuinely understand. She listens to genuinely understand. And there's a profound difference that you feel in your body. With most people you talk and you can sense them planning their next sentence while you're still speaking, waiting for their turn rather than absorbing your meaning. With her, you feel something much rarer. You feel like your words actually landed, like they didn't bounce off a defensive wall, like you're not performing for approval or validation. You're just being heard as a human being. Third, most people love you when it's easy to love you. When you're winning, when you're confident, when you're charming and successful and easy to be around. She loves you when you're not proud of yourself, when you're struggling quietly, when you've made mistakes you're ashamed of. And that's the part people don't advertise on social media because it doesn't look romantic in photographs. But if you've ever been at your absolute lowest, if you've ever been completely misunderstood, unfairly judged, bone-tired, or quietly ashamed of something, then you know exactly what I mean. It's remarkably easy to be around someone when they're winning and glowing. Profoundly rare to be around someone when they're simply messily human. When the mask slips, when the performance ends, when they're just trying to survive the day. Loyalty isn't a vibe or an aesthetic. It's a decision. It's the daily decision to see the whole person, every complicated piece, and not flinch away from the difficult parts. And the reason she's one in a million is because she doesn't treat loyalty like a temporary mood that changes with her feelings. She treats it like a backbone, like the structural foundation of who she is as a person. Now let me tell you what happens when someone like that enters your life. Something fundamental shifts in your perspective. You start noticing how noisy everything else actually is, how shallow certain conversations feel. How transactional some relationships have become. How many people like you but don't actually care whether you're genuinely okay beneath the surface? And you don't become bitter about this realization. You don't become cynical or closed off. You just become precise, discerning, intentional. Because once you've tasted something genuinely rare, you stop pretending the common version is sufficient. You stop accepting less than what you now know is possible. That's why this kind of love is dangerous in the best possible way. It ruins you for half love, for part-time attention, for loyalty that expires the moment life becomes inconvenient or complicated. And maybe you're listening to these words right now thinking, okay, but how do I actually know it's real? How do I know she's not just temporarily impressed by me? How do I know this isn't just the honeymoon phase that will fade? I'll tell you exactly how you know. Pay very close attention to what she does when there's absolutely nothing to gain, when you're not entertaining, when you're not performing, when you're not giving her any particular reason to stay except the simplest, most fundamental reason. She genuinely cares about you as a person. That's the real test. Not the grand gestures, not the public displays, the quiet moments when no one is watching and there's no reward for staying. Because the rarest kind of loyalty isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, it's steady, it's consistent. It's the text message that simply asks, "Did you remember to eat today?" It's the hand on your shoulder when you don't want to talk but need to feel less alone. It's the way she defends your character when you're not in the room to hear it. And that's exactly why she's 1 in a million. Not because she's perfect or flawless, but because she's real. And realness is the rarest currency in a world built on performance and pretense. Here's the twist that nobody expects until they experience it. What makes her truly unforgettable isn't anything on the surface. It's not the perfect photograph. It's not the right age or appearance. It's not the way she walks into a room. It's her kindness. And I don't mean polite. I don't mean nice when it's convenient and costs nothing. I mean the kind of kindness that has actual weight to it, that you can feel in the atmosphere. Because in a world absolutely obsessed with filters and appearances and image management, real kindness feels like gravity. It pulls you in without asking permission, without manipulation. You can feel it in the way she talks to people who can't do anything for her career or social status. You can feel it in how she treats a complete stranger like they're still a human being worthy of warmth and respect. You can feel it in how she doesn't need an audience or recognition to be good. She's good because that's who she is at her core. That's rare, genuinely rare. And that rarity is exactly why it hits so hard when you finally encounter it. Most people are kind when they're being watched and evaluated. Most people are generous when it improves their public image. Most people care as long as it costs them absolutely nothing. But she has this quiet, unwavering consistency. Like her compassion is woven into her bones. Like it's not a choice she makes each morning, but simply who she is. And once you notice the depth of character, you start noticing something else equally important. Kindness lasts. Physical appearance fades with time. Status shifts constantly. Achievements get replaced by someone newer, louder, faster. But kindness, genuine compassion, builds a legacy you can't measure in traditional metrics. A single act of real compassion can ripple outward in ways you'll never fully see or understand. She does that constantly, not dramatically, not for credit or recognition, just naturally, because that's her character. And it affects you in the best way possible because it reminds you what actual strength looks like. Real strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. A small, "Are you okay?" A quiet, "I'm here." A gentle pause before speaking because she's choosing her words with care and intention. Those whispers echo through your entire life. And that's why when people casually say 1 in a million, they get it wrong. It's not that she's rare because she's flawless or perfect. She's rare because she's genuinely good in a world that increasingly rewards people for being cold, calculating, and self-serving. And listen carefully to this. Kindness isn't weakness. That's a childish misunderstanding of human nature. Kindness is restraint. Kindness is emotional intelligence. Kindness is power under complete control. It takes profound strength to stay soft and open when life keeps trying to harden you. When disappointments pile up, when people betray your trust, when the world shows you its cruelty again and again. Which brings me to the other paradox she carries so effortlessly, so naturally. She has strength and vulnerability woven together like steel wrapped in silk. You can lean on her when you need support, but you can also see her full humanity. She doesn't pretend she never gets tired. She doesn't pretend she never feels pain or uncertainty. She doesn't act like she's somehow above fear or doubt. She just doesn't let those feelings control her life or define her character. And that combination, strength paired with tenderness, does something to the entire atmosphere around her. It makes you want to become better without making you feel small or inadequate. It makes you want to protect her while also trusting her completely. And trust, genuine trust, is where rare love transforms into rare loyalty. Because loyalty isn't just about staying when things get hard. It's also about how you treat the wider world when nobody's rewarding you for it. One of the most revealing things about her character is this. Her compassion isn't selective. She's not only kind to people she likes. She's not only kind when she's in a good mood. She's not only kind when she's winning and everything is going well. She's kind to the stranger at the checkout line who's moving slowly. She's kind to the friend who's braking quietly and can't explain why. She's kind in the small moments that never become stories people tell. That universality, that consistency of character, is rare enough to feel almost unreal. Because it means her love isn't a performance. She turns on for certain audiences. It's a foundation. It's who she is regardless of circumstances. And when someone like that enters your life, you start craving something completely different from everyone else. You stop being impressed by charm that has no character behind it. You stop falling for intensity that has no integrity. You stop confusing attention with devotion. You start asking one simple but profound question. Are you kind when it's inconvenient? Are you good when no one is watching and there's no reward? Because that's where the real truth lives, and that's where she lives every single day. Which is why she doesn't just make life feel romantic in some superficial way. I mean safe in the way that lets you finally exhale, safe enough to tell the complete truth. Safe enough to admit you're not okay. Safe enough to be imperfect without feeling disposable or replaceable. That kind of safety is the rarest currency on earth. More valuable than money. More precious than status. And if you've ever lived without that safety, if you've ever felt like love was purely conditional, like loyalty had expiration date stamped on it, then you know exactly why a woman like that feels like a genuine miracle. Because she isn't here to consume you. She isn't here to use you. She's here to build something real with you. And in a world that's constantly trying to turn people into disposable options, that choice to be steady and human hits like a revelation. Revelation. Here's where most love stories cheat and become dishonest. They stop right at the pretty part. They show you the initial spark, the exciting flirtation. The first late night call that unexpectedly turns into a 2-hour conversation. that changes everything. And then they conveniently cut the scene before real life walks in wearing muddy boots and bringing complicated problems. But I'm not interested in a love that only works when everything is easy and photogenic. Because the love I'm describing, the genuine one in a million kind, doesn't prove itself in candlelight and romance. It proves itself under real pressure. In the days when your phone won't stop buzzing with problems. In the weeks when you're carrying more weight than you can properly explain to anyone. In the nights when your mind absolutely refuses to shut off and the room feels too quiet and too loud simultaneously. That's where the rare kind shows up, not with a prepared speech, not with dramatic gestures, with simple presence. She doesn't walk in trying to fix you like you're a broken project. She walks in understanding something most people don't. Sometimes you don't need advice. Sometimes you don't need motivation or solutions. Sometimes you just need someone to sit near you and make the world feel less sharp and hostile for a few hours. And she can do that. She has this strange, powerful balance. Balance like steel wrapped in silk. Soft enough that you can finally unclench. Finally relax the muscles you didn't realize you'd been holding tight. Strong enough that you don't have to carry absolutely everything alone anymore. That combination is almost unfairly rare, because many people are soft but crumble completely under stress. Many people are strong, but forget entirely how to be gentle. But she's both. She can be tender without being fragile. She can be strong without being cruel or harsh. And when life gets genuinely ugly, when you're exhausted beyond description, completely misunderstood, maybe even deeply disappointed in yourself, she doesn't punish you for being human. She doesn't turn your worst day into a trial. She doesn't weaponize your vulnerability. She stays steady. Steady as I mean the kind where your entire body stops constantly expecting abandonment. I mean the kind where your entire body stops bracing for impact, where your nervous system stops constantly expecting abandonment. Where you realize with quiet shock, oh, this is what it actually feels like to be safe with another person. Because loyalty isn't just the words, I'll stay. Loyalty is, I'll stay kind when you're hard to be around. I'll stay respectful when I'm upset with you. I'll stay true when nobody's watching and there's no external pressure to remain. And that's the real thing. When people casually talk about loyalty, they usually mean loyalty to the good version of you. The version who's calm and centered. The version who's winning and successful. The version who's confident and charming and easy to love. But the rare kind, she's loyal to the whole you, to every version. The quiet you, the stressed you, the uncertain you, the you that makes mistakes. She doesn't romanticize your pain either. She doesn't glamorize struggle or suffering. She just absolutely refuses to weaponize it against you. To keep score. And to collect evidence for future arguments. And you don't realize how profoundly rare that is until you've been with someone who does weaponize everything. Someone who keeps detailed score. Someone who brings up your worst moments strategically when they need leverage. In a disagreement. Someone who uses love, like a reward system. They control. She's nothing like that. She's not here to collect evidence against you. She's here to build an actual life with you. And building is unsexy sometimes. It's not always photogenic or story-worthy. It's waking up when you genuinely don't want to. It's doing the small, invisible things without any applause. It's making breakfast when you're tired. It's learning the other person's rhythms and patterns. It's maintaining patience when patience feels impossible. It's the quiet question that matters far more than, do you love me? It's, can you count on me? Am I reliable? Am I consistent? That's what makes those simple, old-fashioned ideas so powerful. Can you wake up with me in the morning? Can you still be gentle when I'm sick or stressed or struggling? Can you tie the knot, literally and metaphorically, every single day, even when the day isn't remotely romantic? Because the truth that nobody wants to hear is this: the strongest love isn't dramatic. It's dependable. It's the person who waits for you to come home, not as a performance or obligation, but because their heart naturally leans toward you. It's the person who doesn't disappear when you're not fun or entertaining. It's the person who communicates without needing to speak the words. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. And if you've ever lived in a world where people leave the absolute second you become inconvenient or complicated, then you already understand why that kind of loyalty feels like winning an impossible lottery. Not because it's flashy, because it's real. Because it's what you've been searching for your entire life without knowing how to name it. So yeah, steel wrapped in silk. That's the kind of woman who changes a man's entire future. Not by demanding it, not by manipulating, by making him believe quietly, steadily, that a future built together is actually possible. That it's not just a fantasy, that it could be real. The launch and the risk. Let me tell you the part people absolutely refuse to romanticize. The part where love stops being a warm, comfortable idea and becomes a decision with real consequences. Because falling for someone isn't just emotion. It's putting your real, unedited self on the table without armor, without public relations management, without a backup plan, and saying with terrifying vulnerability, okay, here, this is actually me. Please don't crush it. And the reason most people never experience the rare kind of love is brutally simple. They never take the risk required to reach it. They want guaranteed outcomes. They want certainty. They want absolute safety. They want a relationship that feels secure without ever requiring them to be brave. But that's not how anything meaningful works. Not technology, not art, not building something that lasts. And definitely not love. Love is a launch. It's like sending a rocket into darkness, knowing there's a genuine chance it doesn't go smoothly, knowing the conditions can shift, knowing the calculations can be perfect, and the moment can still go wrong, knowing you can do absolutely everything correct and still take a devastating hit. And yet, you launch anyway. You take the risk anyway. Because staying on the ground forever, never trying, never risking, is its own kind of failure, its own kind of death. That's what I wish more people understood earlier. The goal isn't to avoid heartbreak at all costs. The goal is to find someone worth the risk. Someone whose presence makes you think, if I'm going to bet my heart on anything, I want it to be this person. And she's that person. Not because she promises you a perfect flight with no turbulence, but because when the countdown gets loud, when doubt starts screaming in your mind, when fear tries to make you abort the mission, she doesn't panic. She doesn't run. She gets closer. She reaches for you instead of retreating. Most people treat commitment like a legal contract. They sign it when life is calm and comfortable, and they start looking for loopholes and exits. The second life gets messy or complicated, she's the complete opposite. When life gets messy, she doesn't hunt for exits. She looks for your hand. She moves toward you, not away. And I'm not saying that to make it sound poetic. I'm saying it because it's practical. Because real partnership is fundamentally practical. It's not just, I love you when you're glowing and impressive. I'm still right here when you're quiet and struggling. It's the ability to hold steady through genuine turbulence without turning the turbulence into a personal attack or character flaw. So yeah, she's 1 in a million. The rarest kind. And if you find that, you hold on to it. You become worthy of it. You show up for it every single, because that's not just love, that's home.